Hello, and welcome to the Lesbian Lounge, a podcast for the girls who like girls. I'm your host and your resident lesbian big sister, Juliet Taylor, and I'm here to answer your guys' questions, give advice on your dilemmas, and of course, chat about your wildest lesbian dating stories. So grab a drink, get comfy, and welcome into the Lesbian Lounge. Welcome back, everybody. We have a super exciting guest today, and I'll let her give herself a fabulous introduction. So, over to my amazing guest.
Hey guys, it's Tegan here. I was on Virgin Islands season 2. So yeah, I'm
We,
here to chat to Juliet about a load of different things, I'm sure.
yes, we are so excited to have you here. I know it's probably been super busy since coming off the show, so thank you for coming and sitting down with us today. Can't wait to dive into all things Virgin Island, lesbianness, and all those good things.
All the great things.
So let's start pre-Virgin Island. How did you come about applying for the show? Did you watch the first season and thought, this is a bit of me? Tell me that whole story about getting on the show.
Right, so I'd seen clips on TikTok and genuinely first thought was that seems weird. Like genuinely, like the premise behind it sounded so weird to me. And then I went into work and everyone was talking about it and I was like, well, now I've got to watch it, just to see what they're talking about.
Mhm.
So I went home one weekend and I just binged the entire first season. It was after the last episodes came out. And no word of a lie, I cried throughout, like the entire show. Not just one episode, not just two, like pretty much every episode I was crying. And I'm not a crier, so this was very unusual for me. I was genuinely moved by the whole premise of it. Once I'd actually watched the show. So then I saw at the end, I'm like, that I've never resonated with the show more than I have that because I resonated with so many different people in so many different ways. And then at the end, I saw that there was applications were open for the second season, and I thought, nah. And I gave it a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, I think I need to do this. I think I need to
Like the
try.
voice in the back of your head was like, do it, do it, do
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I'd sat on it a couple of weeks and I was like, because I was ill when I first watched it, and I'm like, this is just my brain being like ill and wanting like comfort. But no, I sat on it a couple of weeks and I was like, I need to apply for this because if I don't, I'll think, what if?
Mhm.
So I sent my application away. There was a little video you had to send in of your name and why. Like Bertie shared his on TikTok,
Mhm.
on his social media, which was amazing. I literally sent mine in just saying like my name, reason why I applied, all that. And then I deleted it straight away and never thought about. I sent it off, but
Uh-huh.
deleted the video and never thought of it again until a couple of weeks later. I'm sat in work and I get an email from a casting director, Channel 4, being like, you've moved on to stage 2 or something it
Mhm.
was.
And had you like completely even like just put out your mind that you'd even applied at this point? So this email was just like so unexpected.
So unexpected. Like I genuinely forgot all about it. And then literally, like I said, 3 weeks later, I got an email and I'm like, oh yeah, I applied. At that point, I was like, I was still like, there was no way I was getting on.
Mhm.
So there must be thousands and thousands that have applied. So I arranged the Zoom call. I didn't tell my bosses or anything. I just took a half day and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going on holiday next week, so I might as well like take a half day, prepare,
Mhm.
pack, and all
Yeah.
this. Um, and then and then I started getting through all the stages and stages, and I'm like, and I still made it like I still was very clear. I'm like, I'm not getting on.
Mhm.
Like it's just plain old Tegan. I'm not getting on. And then it got to the stage where the person interviewing me was like, "You need to tell your work because you're now on a short list, which means that you are the one of the potentials to go on,
Mhm.
and you need to tell your work to see if you can actually get the time off."
Right,
Because
okay.
it's
You were like,
three
okay,
and a
this is
half.
getting real now, like shit.
Yeah. I'm like, this is 3.5 weeks. So I'm like, oh my, I'm pretty sure my boss wouldn't even allow that. So, so I took her, like my boss aside the next day, and I'm like, hey, so there's a show that I want to go on. She'd never heard of the show.
Okay.
So then she went home. She was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Just send a written email in. You don't even have to say what show it is." She's like, "It's 2025 at the time." She was
Hmm.
like, "2025. It really like the bosses won't care what you do as long as you don't bring work into it."
Yeah.
I'm like, great.
Hmm.
I'm like, that's great. So the next day she came in. She was like, "Oh, I talked to my daughters who are like around like my age,"
Hmm.
and then she was like. Oh, like they absolutely love they love the show. Like
Uh-huh.
you absolutely should go on it. I'm like, okay.
So I guess that's a very positive experience because I can imagine some people, well, if you said 3.5 weeks, like that is a long time to be off work. So I
Mhm.
can imagine a lot of bosses, they wouldn't even hear you out. They'd hear 3.5 weeks and shut it down. So,
Oh, 100%. I'm very lucky. I've got a good job. Good support. So yeah, it basically like it got to the stage where it was like the next stage is going down to London to
hmm.
speak to psychiatrists to see if we're strong enough
Yeah.
and if we're the right fit for the show. If they can help us, if we can help, like we can be prepared to accept help.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, oh, that's the point where I was like, oh, this is real.
Yes.
Like, this could be a possibility. And then I went down and I spoke to the lovely psychiatrist, and he turned around to me. He was like, "I'm going to give you a bit of homework because I know for a fact I'll see you again." So I'm like, "Okay, that gave me some confidence."
Yeah.
And then yeah, it was like it was a very quick. It started. Like, I think I applied beginning of June,
Mhm.
and then the meeting with the psychiatrist was in September. So it was literally a couple of months, and it
Yeah.
was about 10 different interviews.
Wow.
So it was literally like
So
one
lots
every
of
week.
half days at work.
Yeah, there was a lot of, oh, boss, can I? It got to the stage, thankfully, where she knew about it. So I was like,
Mhm.
hey, can I leave early to do an interview, to do one of the interviews? So yeah, it got to September time, and I was like, oh, this is real.
Mhm.
And then yeah, I got the phone call, and they were like, yeah, we need you to come down to London the next week for like a big master interview, where we'll use that for part of the show. I'm like, oh, my
Mhm.
first TV experience.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I had to quickly book the time off work for that as well. My thankfully my boss was incredible with it all. Yeah, and then obviously we were away on the 1st of October.
Oh wow. So
So
a very quick turnaround then.
yeah, literally got told like 3 weeks before I was going that I was like on the show.
I guess at least obviously on the show, I'm assuming because you got almost, I don't want to say uniform, but you get your outfits given. At least it wasn't a case of, oh God, I now need to go and buy 3.5 weeks worth of clothes. Like it's okay.
Well,
They're gonna
no,
give me clothes to wear. It's fine. I can sort this out in 3 weeks.
exactly. No, we were very lucky. I very much liked the uniform. I literally went home. I still wear the shorts. I
Well,
still
that's
wear the
very
fleece
comfy to
shorts.
be fair.
The fleeces are still getting worn, don't worry. Um, but it was very good in that way because it was like, right, there's like you said, there's not 3 weeks worth of outfits that you
Yeah.
need to like to try and figure out, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. So did you obviously you now know you're going on the show, you've got that 3 weeks to prepare. I know obviously when you sign NDAs you can't necessarily tell people, but did you like speak to, immediate close family about the show or did you just leave it a complete surprise to them?
So my one of the parts of the obligations of going on the show was that you needed a support system, whether that be family, whether that be close friends. You needed someone that the welfare director could actually phone and speak to,
Oh no.
and like speak to about it and speak about the experience and that.
Hmm.
So I'm very close to my family, like extremely close. Like when they're my like best friends. My sister is my ultimate best friend. So I told them after. like not after I applied because I forgot all about it, but
Uh-huh.
after I got through the first
When it
interview.
was starting to get serious.
Yeah, it literally. I was like, when I started doing more like a couple of Zoom interviews, I was like, oh, this is the thing, and I went and I told them, and they were like, my sister was ecstatic. My mum and dad were like, we don't know what that is, but
Mhm.
but if you think it's going to work for you, then absolutely. Um, so like the welfare director spoke to my mum a couple of weeks before I went, and then my mum came out in tears, and she was like, "This is just the perfect thing for you. Like you are going to excel." And she was fully like she was a little bit nervous, of course, because her baby is going to very, very intimate therapy.
Mhm.
Um, so it like she came out in tears and she was like, "Yeah, this is just the perfect thing for you, like the absolute perfect thing." Um, and I trust you're in good hands in that now. So yeah, I told my immediate like family. I told my immediate colleagues around me because they would
Mhm.
notice if I was gone for three and a
Yeah.
half weeks. And I am an awful liar. I
Oh God.
cannot lie to save my life.
Mhm.
So I couldn't turn around and tell them that I was on holiday because they'd want to see pictures. And
Yes,
I don't have
that's a
my
very
phone.
long holiday, isn't it? Just very 3 weeks. Well, okay, I'm going off on holiday for 3.5 weeks. See you later. Bye.
Like they're gonna turn around and go, where's the pictures? Where's the updates?
Uh-huh, yeah.
So I can't lie to save my life. So I was like, I'll tell like the people that I'm sat around.
Hmm.
Um, and so I told my like the little department I was in.
Hmm.
And they were all very supportive. I did have a work mum that was very apprehensive.
Hmm.
She was very much like, I don't like you doing it on TV. Good
Hmm.
for you for doing it, but it's on TV, so it's a bit awkward. But I didn't. I told my very, very close friends,
Hmm.
who are all queer as well. They were ecstatic.
Yes.
I remember telling them when I got on, and we were in a food court, and one of them literally screamed, and everyone turned around to look at us. And, oh God, talk about keeping it quiet.
Yes. She's gonna
Um,
be on the telly, guys. You're like, shut up.
like I'm like, guys.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I ended up being a bit of a chatterbox about it. Thankfully, nothing got leaked. But I can't. I'm a yapper. Okay, I can't help
Mhm.
it. When people ask me about these things, and especially when I've had a drink, it's so hard for me to turn around and go, "Oh yeah, I'm not. I'm just on holiday for 3 weeks.
No,
You know,
I'm the
I'm not
exact
doing
same.
anything." So luckily, I can say that now. Now that the show about it, and there was no leaks.
Good, I'm glad. But I love that. And I think how incredible that everybody was just instantly so supportive. Like everyone's going to have their questions. Even I think if it wasn't Virgin Island, even if it was any other show, people are going to have, their queries, their concerns. But I think it's so nice that it was like, okay, this is really going to benefit you. So if this is what you want, then we're going to support you wholeheartedly. Go Tegan. Yay.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was blessed, genuinely. Like I couldn't have asked for a better support system, in the slightest. Like everyone, there was people that were apprehensive, as you said, but like they were all still so supportive. They were like, if this is what you want to do, I have always been notoriously known as someone that's strong-willed.
Hmm.
So if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like if they
Yeah, like no
knew
one's
that we
forcing your hand into it.
yeah, so this is exactly something that I was like, they were like, okay, if she's going for it, she knows she needs it.
Yeah.
So they were immediately like, we support you. And not everyone's watched it, but they 100% like support me. Yeah, it's amazing,
Yeah.
honestly, the support I've had.
Yeah, I think I'd have to like pre-watch the show and then maybe make like a best bits to show like mum and dad, Be like, okay, you don't need to see it all. You can just see like the bits I pick and choose for your eyes and ears.
Yeah, no, my mum watched the entire thing
I
with
love
like first 5 episodes she watched with me, like
obsessed.
in the same room. The last three, I was not watching episode 6, because for obvious reasons, I get a bit down and dirty, and I turned around to her. We didn't get to see the episodes before everyone else. We saw them at the same time that they got
Mhm.
aired on TV. But we got a detailed heads up of what's featured in it. So I got told like I wasn't very heavily featured in the first couple of episodes, but it would pick up more between episodes 3 and
Mhm.
6. And I was like, right, okay. So I knew episode 6 was the episode where I lost my virginity.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert if anyone hasn't seen it.
I'm sure everyone
Um,
has.
um, but yeah, and so I turned around to my mum that night and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't watch this with you. Like I've watched all the other episodes, and then 7 and 8, I was down in Peterborough with Katie, one of the other contributors, because she that was a big number 8 was a big episode for
Mhm.
her, and she was really nervous to watch it, but like by herself. So I was
Mhm.
like, we were all going down to London for a meetup anyway. So I was like, let's like stop on the way down and
Uh-huh.
see Katie and make sure she's not alone when she was watching it. You know.
Oh, I love that. That's really, really sweet. And I love like I mean, the bond from all of you guys, you could really see from the screen and from what we saw of obviously, it's like Molly May says, 24 hours in a day, but like we are only seeing so much of that on a TV show. So,
Yeah.
that one I think really came across, and it's nice that it's translated into life outside of I was going to say the villa. We're not on Love Island, but you know what I mean. Life outside of the
I get what
experiment,
you mean.
outside of the show. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the show. How did you find your time there? Was it, what you expected it to be? Do you feel like what we saw was like an accurate representation of your journey in there?
So yeah, so I kind of went into it expecting what was on the show,
Hmm.
like on season 1. Um, and I guess it never really hit me that I was actually on this show that I had seen on TV until we were walking into our very first workshop. And
Hmm.
I was like, I literally remember turning around to one of the other people and go, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah, when they're like, okay, dressing gowns off, get naked. You're like, oh my God, am I like, okay, okay, shit, like it's go time.
It's actually going to happen. So I tried to keep such an open mind and not overthink it because I am a notorious overthinker.
Hmm.
So I was very much like, if I keep my mind blank and just go in and talk through what I need to and do the things I need to progress, but also just try not to overthink it and try not to think too much about it.
Yeah.
I knew I would kind of excel. So literally after the first workshop, what you don't see is that I was the first one to get it pulled for a one-on-one workshop.
Hmm.
Um, in the first workshop we did, um, I ended up laughing awkwardly throughout the entire experience.
Uh-huh.
It was so awkward. And the way I always deal with that is by laughing.
Hmm.
And then so I just laughed throughout the entire thing. And then literally like 2 hours later, I was being pulled away for my first one-on-one session.
Hmm.
And that was enlightening because it was with Danielle. And immediately I was like, oh, like the nerves kicked in. What when I was walking into that tent,
Hmm.
it was very nerve-wracking. But it's strange. You do very much get into the sort of like the mood of it like so quickly. Like
Hmm.
you put everything else out of your mind. I forgot the cameras were there after like the second day.
Yeah.
Um, and there's no actual people, like people holding cameras in the
Hmm.
actual one-on-one sessions. So that also helped me very much feel comfortable with because it was just most of the time it was just me and Risden.
Hmm.
You know, there was no one else. There was cameras. I was aware that there was cameras,
Yes,
but it
but
was
not like
just
a
us.
person there holding it
No.
and then a boom microphone over your head.
Exactly. See, but that was one of the biggest things I was concerned about. I'm like, how are you meant to like get in the mood to like learn and then want to, get things on, get a bit jiggy,
Uh-huh.
with when there's like a man with a camera standing
Hmm.
right over
Yeah,
there.
it's a slight clock block, isn't it?
Yeah, but I genuinely like I watching it back, I thought it was such an accurate representation of my journey. I was told a few times by a few different people that they were very lucky. They felt very lucky to have me on the show because I helped kind of pave the way for people. I was very much like, because I threw myself in from day one, I
Hmm.
was encouraging the others who were a bit more apprehensive and shy
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
hey, it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
if
like you
Tegan
almost
can do
like
it,
you do it first, then they'll follow because
yeah,
they've seen it. It's safe. Like nobody's getting hurt, nobody's dying. Like it's just getting your
exactly,
fit off
exactly.
or whatever else it is.
Oh, there was plenty.
No, I was. it's nice to hear that, it was accurately represented to what happened for you to what we then saw. And
Yeah.
how was it obviously being with everybody else? It seemed like from what we saw, it looked like you guys spent a lot of time together getting
Mm.
to know each other. And obviously it's so many people from so many different walks of life. We had people, coming to terms with their sexuality on the show, figuring out so many things about themselves. So what was that sort of experience like, just to be chucked into a I keep wanting to say villa. I don't know what we're calling it. Chucked into a
Island. I
yeah,
call it the
chucked into
island.
an yes, I like that, island. Chucked into an island with a bunch of strangers essentially.
So it was very strange because obviously we'd met. We'd all got, so this is the funny part, is that all the girls got the same flight over to Croatia, and all the
Okay.
guys got the same flight over to Croatia. But we weren't allowed to speak to each other. That was the caveat. Is
Okay.
that it was very awkward because
Did you know who, like, could you look around and be like, okay, you're going on the show, you're going on the show, or was everyone kind of like incognito?
no, they were very much like, it was because we were looked after by a group of welfare going over. So it was very much like, these are the people that you're going to be surrounded with for the next
Mhm.
3 weeks. So it was very clear, but we weren't like, we knew what each other looked like, but we didn't know
Mhm.
anything about each other. We
Yeah.
weren't allowed to speak at all because
Just
they
like
kind
us
of
on the
wanted,
plane.
yeah,
No.
they didn't want us to become friends off camera, and
Yeah.
then it would
They wanted to
feel,
see them relationships blossom
yeah,
on
they
screen.
they wanted it to be as authentic as possible so that when we all walked down, so then when we stayed in the hotel, um we all stayed in different rooms, and it was
Mhm.
like we weren't allowed to come out of our rooms. We were allowed to go for walks that were accompanied by welfare team,
Mhm.
but we were very much like you had to stay in, your own little
Yeah,
space, which was torture for me because I love being around people.
I'm the same.
Um, so eventually we got over to the island, and then I actually took a massive sigh of relief because I'm like, I hate sitting here in silence.
Hmm.
So the fact we were able then to go down, be able to go down and introduce ourselves to each other, I'm like, hey, like I know you guys, what you guys look like, but I had no clue who you are.
Yeah.
So now I can actually get to know you. And like I always before the show slagged off people like in on Love Island, for instance, who would tell like people that just met, they were like in love, or they were falling for
Hmm.
them after like 2 3 days. And then I kind of realized like, oh, this is the thing, is you don't have phones, your mobile
Hmm.
phones are gone, so you don't have any distractions. You're all bonded immediately because you're on this crazy experience
Hmm.
together.
It's like trauma bonding, isn't it?
Exactly. It's the perfect definition of trauma bonding. And then what I don't realize is you spend from 7 a.m. in the morning till about 10 p.m. at night together.
Hmm.
So apart from when obviously you're doing your one-on-one
Yeah.
sessions, so it was very much like you could go off and you could take some time to yourself in a different part of the hangout, but you were always surrounded by these people. So I was telling a few of the girls that I loved them after like 2 days.
Hmm.
I absolutely adored those people after like a couple of days. That was it. That's all it took.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice, though, isn't it? And like you said, you're going on this crazy journey, so it's nice to have had other people going through the same thing with you. So, you can share your experiences and not feel like you're alone in what you're going through. So,
Yeah, no, 100%. And like it was so weird because we were all there for the ultimate reason,
hmm.
but like the same ultimate reason, but all of us had different journeys. All of
Hmm.
us had different reasons for being there. And it was so like it was amazing to see and hear the progress when I was there.
Hmm.
And it was another thing entirely to watch it back and go, oh, like that's the kind of progress they actually made.
Uh,
Like we don't get to see obviously their one-on-one
yeah.
session,
Hmm.
so we got to see how they felt before going on and how they felt coming out of the
Hmm.
sessions, but we didn't get to know what was actually going
Yeah.
on unless they told us.
Hmm.
So it was like I was amazed by Bertie, for
Hmm.
instance, like his journey. Like he was such a soul. He captured everyone's heart on the island, but
Hmm.
he was rather quiet. So I loved that boy to bits, But genuinely, I didn't think too much of it when the show came out. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, like the progress he has made from the very beginning
Yeah.
to the very end is insane. And it was the same with all of us. Like you could
Mhm.
see the people we were that we went on, we were not the same people coming off of
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
And we'd all grown as people.
Yeah, which is, I guess, the main reason for the show is, the losing your virginity. But I think it's so much deeper than that, isn't it? It's the confidence you gain, the skills you gain,
Yeah.
the people skills, whatever it is. There's so much more that can come from the show than just that one
Oh,
thing.
Oh, 100%. Like my actually, funnily enough, one of my things was I wasn't gonna have sex on TV. I
Hmm.
wasn't. I was gonna get myself into a position where I felt ready coming off the
Hmm.
island to lose my virginity. And then you do just literally get swept away in the whole experience
Yeah.
and the whole like you don't even like forget you don't even care that this camera's
Hmm.
there anymore. You genuinely are just like, well, I'm here. I feel ready. I'm like, what better experience than with someone who is an expert in that field,
Hmm.
who you know you're going to have a pleasant first time with,
For sure.
rather than you can have all these skills coming off of it, but if you're with the wrong person for the first time, it won't make for a good experience.
For sure.
So, and like the connection I had with Risden, I'm like, I trust this woman with my life.
Hmm.
So I'm like, why wouldn't I want this my first experience to be with this person who I trust, who I fancy, and who has taught me so much
Yeah.
already.
That's really precious, isn't it? And like you said, it's that you don't get that first time again. Like that's
No.
your one experience. So if it is with the wrong person, then you have to live with that forever. So it's
Yeah.
nice that that first time experience for you is going to be something that you'll hold so positively.
Yeah, one of the first things she said, one of the like first things she said after our set that session where we did have sex was, "No, that's the standard." She's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, the standard I've set for you." So she's like, "You need to make sure you stay like you don't drop your standards for
Mhm.
anyone. You know what you deserve. You deserve you deserve the best,
Uh-huh.
and you make sure you get that best." So
And
I thought it was
imagine
very
like they
sweet.
also want the best for you guys. So I love that. So let's, go back to being on the island. Like I said before, we're seeing so little of your day realistically. We're seeing what an 45 minute, an hour episode, and only so little amount of episodes. So what did a normal day look like on the island for you guys?
Right, so we were in bed and we got in our little tents that were actually very, very comfortable.
I was
Uh,
gonna ask, is it like literally like a camp bed on the floor and you're like
oh
just
no,
vibing?
it's a proper glamping pod. Like
Yeah.
we had showers and everything in there. It
Oh
was great.
wow.
We had heating. We
Hmm.
had we had aircon. We had the lot. Like it was like some of us had two beds, some of us had one. It
Hmm.
was just the way the tents were designed. But it was like a glamping pod. There was no camping. Thank God, because I could not camp to save
No,
my
I would
life.
have been cranky all week, so I wouldn't have slept
Yeah.
well.
Exactly. So we all got woken up by a member of welfare who came round
Hmm.
all our tent at like 7 o'clock ish. And then we'd all be told it was around 7 o'clock.
Hmm.
And then we'd all get mic'd up at our tents. Someone would come around and help us attach our mics. And then we would get told, right, you can go down to breakfast now. Breakfast would be filmed.
Hmm.
So literally from like the minute you step outside your tent, you're filmed.
Yes, it's go time.
Um, so then ended up going down to the little breakfast area that you see, and we have a little like half an hour of breakfast,
Hmm.
where we all talk about obviously what's coming up, and plenty of other things. There was many
Hmm.
things that did not make the show. And then we were whisked away at like 9 o'clock to to the workshop, with the big workshop with
Hmm.
Danielle, Celeste, the other therapists, and we would be there for about 2 hours ish, 2.5 hours. So that took up like all the morning.
Yeah.
We would then be taken from the workshop down to the hangout area where we would all have time to debrief, is what we called it. We
Hmm.
would all debrief how we felt the
Yeah.
thing, how we felt it went, what we felt like. Were we comfortable with it? Were we not? Like that sort of thing. And then people would be taken out for their either their one-on-one sessions or for what we call dailies, which are like interviews
Hmm.
where they just it's not daily, it's every couple of days, but they
Hmm.
just want to check in, like see how you're getting on, how you're feeling,
Yeah.
try and get some inside scoop out of things that have happened in the hangouts that they want the
Hmm.
gossip too. And of course, I kept my mouth shut because I'm gonna protect my people. So I can't blame them for asking though.
Yeah, it's TV at the end of the day, isn't it? They want the drama.
Exactly. And they never pushed either. So if
That's
we turned
good.
around and we were like, yeah, that's nothing to do with me, I don't know. Then they were
Hmm.
like, yeah, no, cool, totally. Just had to ask. Um, and then we'd have lunch about 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and we would go through the same process where there would be one-on-one sessions. We got a little sheet on the built on the boards up down by the hangout, which told us each session each day, and it usually went in order. So you
Hmm.
knew, like, if you were right at the bottom, you were like, oh, that's an evening session. So
Yeah.
you've got all day to like relax. Or if you were right at the top, you were like, I might miss lunch and I might have to get one of the welfare team to pack up a little lunch for me. Um, and then that kind of pattern went along all right up until about 7 o'clock. And what you don't see is that we all get demiked and the cameras go. So we
Hmm.
get I think that was very important for all of us, is that we had the evening dinner time where we could chat without the cameras being there.
Yeah.
We could, talk freely. Like we played Uno, we played Bobble, we played we talked to the welfare. The welfare team played some music.
Hmm.
It was chilling us out. So from like 7 o'clock to like 9, 10, we had a very strict bedtime of 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
We had to be in our tents by 10 because it's a very long day. It's
Yeah,
a
if they're
great.
waking you up at 7, like, give me my beauty sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a very strict bedtime at 10. Some people went to bed like straight after like dinner and they've decompressed in their tents.
Yeah.
Others, like myself, stayed right up until 10 o'clock every night because
Yeah.
they were like, I can't, I'd read all my books already. So I was like, I
Yeah, you
can't
need
sit in
that
my
social
tent.
interaction, but like the
Yeah.
the off-camera social interaction.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So yeah, and then obviously we got back to the tent at 10 o'clock. And then there was just same sort of cycle. We got a couple of off days. So what they would tend to do is they'd film, so one episode lasted 2 days.
Hmm.
So you think like I always say it's about 16 hours of filming a day,
Hmm.
times two for the fact that it's literally for 2 days. They have to crop that into 45 minutes. So there was a lot that people didn't see.
Hmm.
But um, then after every episode or every 2 episodes, so every 4 days,
Hmm.
we'd get what was called a down day, where there would be no cameras. We would still go down to the hangout, but we'd wear our own clothes if we wanted. We could go in the pool. We could, some people brought things like devices that can't connect to the internet, so they don't have access. But
Uh-huh.
like, I think Bertie brought an old Nintendo,
Nice.
which is such a throwback. Um, and then yeah, so other people like Marianne brought an iPod.
Hmm.
Listen to some music. So it was very nice to have a chill day, and that's when we got to speak to our families.
Nice.
So we didn't go 3 weeks without speaking to our
Hmm.
family. Um, we got pulled aside for like a 10-minute, 15-minute phone call with
Hmm.
them, and it was always good. And my family are notoriously nosy, so every time one of the first things they said was, "And
Yeah.
what do you do?"
So have you lost your
What,
virginity yet? You're
yeah,
like, Mum, it's
literally.
day one. Come on.
What do you think I did? I laughed awkwardly. So yeah, it was fun. Funnily enough, the day I lost my virginity, the next day, I had was an off day, and
Mhm.
I had a phone call with my mum, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to keep this like a secret because I want to tell her face to face,
Uh-huh,
but
yeah, and like actually see her reaction and stuff.
like she's gonna hear how happy I am in my voice that I'm not sure. I'm sure she's
Hi, Mum.
literally. I'm sure
Yesterday
she's gonna
was
think
great. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
it's great. I'll tell you all about it when I'm home. So yeah, and then I got like the latest Corey updates
Yeah.
from my sister. So yeah, it was a great day, and we'd be able, sometimes we'd watch movies depending on the weather.
Mhm.
And it was just really nice. It was good. It was great to have that kind of rest where it was like, okay, we're not on the go all the time.
Mhm.
Even though towards the end, a lot of us were feeling not drained, but very much like, okay, this is the same cycle now. And obviously, I'd lost my virginity, and then I still had another few days to go. So
Mhm.
and it's like Risden then turned her attentions to some of the other people who hadn't progressed as much.
Uh-huh.
So if I'm sure if we'd had more time, I would have gone for more sessions. Um,
Mhm.
but it was great because I spent the last few days. I think I timed it perfectly because I spent the last few days actually having holiday, where
Yeah,
I'm just
nice.
lying on the bed, like the day bed, napping.
Yes, obsessed.
It was great.
Yeah, it's like you've got what you came for at that point. So,
Mhm.
especially with so little days left, it's like okay. And obviously, like you mentioned earlier, like you weren't as heavily featured in the first few episodes, but you were further on. And it's the same. Like obviously, everyone's gonna get different amounts of airtime, but you've then had your like peak almost. So it's like okay, let's focus on this storyline and this narrative. So you were like, okay, I'm done. You're done with me. Great, get me on the
Yep,
day beds for a nap and a
exactly.
sunbathe.
Exactly. I was literally, I literally would look round at the board whenever the sheep would come down and go, am I on there, guys? No? Great.
Get
back,
in.
back to sleep.
I love that. And then I just want to touch on obviously, I think the first season of the show was great for so many reasons. It broke so many barriers and stigmas, but I think this season was so great for LGBTQ plus representation. So what's that been like since coming off the show, having, been on that show? Because I think, especially virginity it's different for everyone, especially in terms of being with another woman. I think it's, is it just make another woman come? Is it, a thing like what is it for different? It's different for every person. So
Yeah.
how's that been since coming off the show and how's the reception been?
So yeah, it's been like 99% positive. Like I have teared up at some like I've cried, like sobbed at some of the messages I've received. I had one in particular which I'll always remember, and it was the mum of a masked lesbian
Mhm.
who had turned around to me and she was like, me and my daughter are close, we always have been, but I never quite understood how much she struggled with internalized homophobia
Mhm.
until I actually like until we watched your episode and then she turned around to me and said, I've been struggling with this too. And it's literally broken so many I've got goosebumps even now just thinking
Mhm.
about it. Like I literally I was at my mum and dad's house while it came through and I read it. I'm like, oh my God, mum, look at this. And I showed her
Mhm.
and I was crying. Um and it's like the whole concept of virginity, like you said, and like the show said, is different for every single person.
Mhm.
Like I'm gonna get. There's no TMI for me. I'm gonna get right into it.
Go for
Like
it.
for me, I'm not too keen on penetration in
Mhm.
general. It doesn't do much for me. I think you have. I guess you kind of, I guess, have to be in the moment to really decide
Mhm.
that. But whenever I'd masturbated myself, I never found it that appealing.
Mhm.
So for me, I went into the show being like, I want to have an orgasm and or make someone else
Yeah.
orgasm, and that's my definition of
Yeah.
virginity.
Mhm.
Then I spoke to Risden, and Risden's like, look, this is a teaching moment. She's like, virginity is so much like so varied in the way you described it
Mhm.
that she's like, I'm gonna be honest, I probably won't orgasm on camera
Mhm.
because um there's cameras. She's like, it's something that maybe gives me a bit of a mental block.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she was very much in the mindset of I'm teaching you a lot of things right
Yeah.
now. So it wasn't as much as she was in the moment, and I felt the connection.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a part of her which I thought was so professional and so amazing on from my end, even that was focused on the task, which
Yeah,
was
like for
making
her,
sure.
it wasn't about her pleasure. It was about you
Yeah,
getting getting that whole experience and getting as much as you possibly can out of it.
yeah, exactly. So I kind of shifted a little bit in how I like viewed virginity,
Hmm.
and I was like, look, I think for me, it was like as long as I have a good time and the person I'm with has a good time,
Hmm.
I'm gonna kind of play it by ear and see like what happens in the moment, whether I feel like that's me lost my virginity, and then
Hmm.
obviously we went and did the had the bedroom session, and I was like. Yeah, and we were
Yeah.
like, we were like, we were cuddling, and I'm like, ah, yeah, I kind of feel like I lost my virginity there.
Yes.
So it was great. And then we literally spent the next 15 minutes like cuddling. It was really like, this is what you don't see from the sessions is that
Hmm.
there was always aftercare. So anything you did in a session, you would always, for instance, eat, cuddle, or you'd, if someone didn't feel comfortable cuddling afterwards, you talk. There was always, it wasn't just, get in, do the business, learn
Yeah.
the skill, and then go. They were very concerned for our well-being. They were making sure we were happy with what had happened.
Hmm.
So after like me and Risden had sex, we were cuddling for like 15 minutes, and I was like we were gossiping about everyone. Lying there gossiping about everyone. We were like, oh, like Joy and Alex are getting closer. Like Katie and
Hmm.
Helen, what do you think's happening there? And this is the thing that I think I've taken the most from it is one, my self-confidence, which has skyrocketed. Like I feel like a whole nother
Good.
person. But also like sex doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be, making someone feel that like so turned on, like, and it's so serious and so like
Like
intimate.
almost
It,
gets to a situation where it feels like there's pressure.
yeah, well, that's the thing. I put so much pressure on myself because I felt like a natural top, so I didn't want to go on and be like I'm going on. I felt a lot of pressure to perform and to be
Hmm.
like I need to like make another woman. At that point, I didn't know it was going to be Risden, but
Hmm.
I'm like I need to make the person I'm with feel pleasurable, and it felt like so much pressure at the time. And then throughout our sessions, we were just getting more comfortable with each other. And I was like, and then she was like making me realize, I'm like, oh, you can have a laugh, you can joke. Like,
Hmm.
obviously, I made the joke that I looked at her bum and was like, I'm definitely a lesbian.
Yes.
And to the point she laughed to the point where she fell on the bed. Like it was so funny. And I still to this day get people like messaging me going, oh my God, you're the one that said that
I
on
think that has to
TV.
probably be one of the most iconic moments of this season. I think that's
Yeah.
something people will always remember that.
Yeah, like that's exactly people some people's favorite lines in the
Yeah.
show, which is insane to me because Bertie had so many one-liners. Like, how can I be anyone's favorite? But at the same time, I'm like, it was an iconic line, and I knew
Mhm.
as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I think that's going to make the show.
Yeah.
So, but like going back, like I changed like the way I'd viewed sex in general had changed, and it's really helped me like to this point where I'm like I can go into an intimate moment with someone and we could still laugh, like we could still have a laugh,
Mhm.
we could still like I am a I'd like to think I'm a funny person. It came across that way in the show. So I don't like I think I was putting so much pressure on being so serious and I'm like
Mhm.
that's not who I am.
Yes,
You
you
know?
be true to yourself.
Yeah, and it was like I felt like I was then whenever I'd go into an intimate setting, I would be performing as opposed to just
Mhm.
being myself.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I know now I can be serious in certain moments.
When you need to
But
be.
like exactly when I need to be. But like the whole concept of because I guess I read a lot of books. I'm a
Mhm.
I'm a book I'm a book talk girl. Okay. I have about three bookshelves in my wardrobe full
Hmm.
of queer romances
No.
where not all of them are PG, like PG-13.
Obsessed.
So me and Marianne were very we knew what we liked going onto the show.
Hmm.
We knew what turned us on. We knew our turn ons. It wasn't a surprise for us. Whereas there was others that literally had
Yeah,
never even
they were
talked about
experiencing
it.
that for the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So we knew, like I knew going on what I liked and what I liked happening in a sexual
Hmm.
situation. So that wasn't all that surprising for me, but it was like I always thought it'd be so cringy for me
Hmm.
to actually do it in a sexual setting. And now I'm like, with the right person in the right moment, like it can be very, very sexual, but also funny and then serious and then funny again.
Yeah.
And then like I said, it could be so many different things. Like it was I was putting sex in such a box. And I'm like, it really didn't need to be. It could be it's so vast and so
Yeah.
open that that yeah, now I'm like, there's no pressure on me at all
Mhm.
whenever it happens.
Yeah, good. And circling back to the that like queer representation
Yeah.
that maybe we didn't get enough of in the first season, that we just point blank don't get enough of on the telly in general. I
Oh,
think this
so much.
season, seeing it so different, we had, a masked lesbian, we had people just like discovering their sexuality for the first time, figuring out that, oh my God, I actually think I like women. So I think for so many queer people who are watching the show, they're going to have took so much away from that. Whether it's, I really relate to Tegan because of the way she dresses, the way she styles her hair, or, that's who I aspire to be, or in like a sexual sense as well. It's, I think everyone will have watched that and been able to relate to somebody on that show for some reason, and especially queer people out there, whether virgins or not. I think everyone will have been able to really, resonate with you guys and your story. So I think that's really, really powerful.
Well, that's the thing is like we had four queer women on that show,
Hmm.
uh, but we were all so different as well. It was so like it
Hmm.
wasn't just three lesbians who all looked the same and all acted the
Hmm.
same, and it like we had obviously Joy who had her own intimacy problems with the
Hmm.
vaginismus storyline, and then her coming to terms with the fact she can be bisexual and
Hmm.
Christian at the same time.
Yeah.
And then we had Ellen, who also had a touch of the Christian
Hmm.
aspect, but also I would just felt so much anxiety around the whole thing. And we all looked so different as well. It wasn't like
Hmm.
anyone like I always said when I went on the show, I was like, I personally never seen a a short-haired masked
Hmm.
lesbian that I relate to
Yeah.
on TV in general. Like, you very rarely see lesbians, the like lesbian representation is so bad for 2025,
Hmm.
2026. It is insanely bad. Don't get me started on I Kissed a Girl.
Oh no.
Don't get me started on it. But um, so I'd never seen and related to anyone on
Hmm.
TV where I'm like I'd never seen a short-haired masked lesbian before on TV until I Kissed a Girl where Fiorenza went on
Hmm.
and all this. And I was like, if one person can relate to me on the show,
Hmm.
I am gonna feel privileged.
Yeah, and it almost like validates them in a way, okay, there's somebody else out there who looks like me, who's going through the same things as me. So I'm not the only person in the situation, I'm not the only person who dresses like this. Maybe someone at school getting picked on and bullied, and it's like, yeah, well, why did you dress like that? And then it's, well, I've seen Tegan on the TV do it. So it's, they're able to almost look up to you and idolize you in that sense, which
Yeah,
it's great that
exactly.
that representation has been put out there in a time when queer representation is like so dry. Like, where is it?
Dire.
Literally, where is it?
Dire. It's so dire. Like they've taken all the movies off Netflix. They've taken like there's nothing out there that apart from I Kissed a Girl who just came out and is now cancelled, which
Mhm.
don't get me started on. But like there is no representation, and I think you can see how much it's needed by how much the queer, like especially the women loving women community, cling to anything new that comes out
Mhm.
that is women loving women.
Yes,
You
their
know,
claws are sunk in.
literally, like I cannot like as soon as a new film comes out, a new TV show comes out, like I my TikTok is full of it because it's all queer women who are like, we need
Mhm.
representation. Um, so like I've had a couple of people come to me after the show and go, "Oh my God, you're my role model," and I'm like, it's so bizarre to me because I'm like, I'm just like I've said before, I'm just plain old Tegan,
Mhm.
right? But at the same time, I get it because I've never had that representation in my life either.
Mhm.
So for someone to look at me and go, "Oh my God," like I get that. I feel so deeply with Tegan's storyline, whether it be
Mhm.
the internalized homophobia, whether it be the way they like I look, the way I act, like my cerebral
Mhm.
palsy, like there's so many different things that I'm like, people have said in so many different ways they relate to. And I'm like, oh
Mhm.
my God, like it is so heartwarming to
Yeah.
see all the reaction because I, there was a part of me that hoped I could make a difference to someone.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm like, I was trying not to think too hopeful about it because I was like, it's it's a reality TV show that isn't really about me as such as one
Mhm.
person. It's about a group of us. But like for the representation, especially the women loving women representation on this show was insane. Like to be fair, I'm friends with Taylor from season one,
Mhm.
so I will never like I've thanked her so many times. I'll never forget Taylor and I'll never forget Holly for what they did
Mhm.
in the first season. But at the same time, I'm like I felt like the season two was very much better equipped for the queer community
Mhm.
than season one was.
Yeah. And just to hammer that point home, it's so important to have that queer representation for not even just younger queers, just anyone out there watching the telly to go, oh my God, like I relate, I see myself in that person. So it
Hmm.
and it's nice, like you said, it wasn't just one, there was somebody that everybody could see themselves in.
Yeah,
So if
exactly.
you could leave us with a little bit of advice. If anyone listening is thinking, I want to go on this show, I want to apply for next season, what would your parting words of wisdom be? What would your advice be for someone, wanting to go on the show?
I would say think long and hard about it because what people don't like, it's all fun and games watching on TV, but it is a long, grueling process.
Mhm.
So you need to be mentally prepared for the 3 weeks of pretty much daily therapy.
Mhm.
So think long and hard. If you want to go on, absolutely apply. The applications are open. Just think long and hard about it. But at the same time, do not close yourself off to anything going on to the show. Like it is the welfare is incredible. The therapists are all incredible. Like the amazing support we all received throughout the entire process makes it so worth it. So don't worry about that. But if you do think this is something you need, absolutely go for it because it will change your life and only for the better. Like there's 24 of us now who have every single one of us have said that this show has helped us rather than hindered us.
Mhm.
So if that doesn't get you wanting to apply for season three, if you feel like you need it, then I don't know what will.
Yes, I love that. Well, I'm sure there's somebody out there listening or who's randomly stumbled across this episode for the first time in the
Mhm.
Lesbian Lounge and gone, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I think maybe that was the little push that somebody needed. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for coming on and chatting to us today. I think, even if somebody's not a virgin, has never watched the show, has no intention of applying for the show, I think everybody can take something away and, relate to something you said or something that you've been through and dealt with. So thank you
Oh,
so much.
100%. No, thank you for having me on. It was
If
a
listeners want to
lovely chat.
if listeners want to find you, where can they find you?
Well, I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram. My handle is Tegan Gallias. I've changed my profile now, so it's not quite the same as the profile pic on the show. But yeah, Tegan Galliers on Instagram and
Amazing.
TikTok.
Well, go give Tegan a follow and keep up to date with her life post being on the island. Well, thank you all so much for listening to another episode of The Lesbian Lounge. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at thelesbianlounge.podcast. Give us a 5-star review if you've enjoyed listening. You can send your dilemmas, questions, confessions, and stories to our anonymous Google form, which will be linked in the description of this episode. Whilst you're there, you can also answer our anonymous Survey Monkey for our questions of the week. And I'll speak to you all next Thursday for a brand new episode. Love you all so much. Bye.